Here we will see arrow function in JavaScript. An arrow function is a shorter syntax for writing functions in JavaScript. It allows for a more concise and readable code, especially in case of small functions. Arrow functions are written with the symbol equal to and greater than, which makes them compact. They don't have their own this keyword. They inherit this from the surrounding context. For functions with a single expression, the return is implicit, which makes the code more concise. Arrow functions do not have access to the arguments object, which is available in regular functions. There are different ways to define the arrow function. Arrow function without parameter, arrow function with single parameter, arrow function with multiple parameters, and arrow function with default parameters. We can use the arrow functions for callbacks and array methods to improve the readability. Avoid using arrow functions in objects methods if this need to refer the object itself. Prefer the arrow function in functional programming pattern for their concise syntax, and use REST parameters when arguments are needed. Advantages of using arrow functions are concise syntax. Arrow functions reduce the amount of code needed for the function expression. Then lexical this binding. Arrow functions automatically bind this to the surrounding context, which eliminates common issues when dealing with callbacks and improve the readability. For shorter functions, arrow syntax can make your code more readable. And limitations of arrow functions are no prototype property. Arrow functions do not have the prototype property, so they cannot be used as a constructors. Cannot be used with new. Since they lack a prototype property, they cannot be used with the new keyword to create instances. Cannot be generators. Arrow functions cannot be used as a generator function because they do not support the yield keyword. Then anonymous nature. Debugging can be harder because arrow functions are anonymous by default and no own this argument super or new.target. Arrow functions do not have their own bindings for these properties, which can limit their use in some cases. General syntax is constant my function equal to parameters and then function body, where my function is the variable that holds the function. Parameter 1, parameter 2 are the function parameters. You can define as many parameters as required by the function. An arrow is used to indicate the beginning of the function. After that, you can write the curly brackets to indicate the function body or remove them if you have a single line function. And function body contains the logic to execute when the function is called. First, we'll see arrow function without parameter. An arrow function without parameter is defined using parentheses. This is useful when you need a function that doesn't require any argument. For example, constant sum equal to parentheses and then arrow, and in function body we'll write console.log 4 plus 5, and when you call this sum it will give the output 9. Then arrow function with single parameter. If your arrow function has a single parameter, you can omit the parentheses around it. For example, constant square equal to x, arrow x into x, and when you print square 4 it will give the output 16. Then arrow function with multiple parameters. Arrow function with multiple parameters like parameter 1, parameter 2 simplifies writing concise function expression in JavaScript, which is useful for functions requiring more than one argument. For example, constant sum equal to x, y, z, then arrow, and inside function body will write console.log x plus y plus z. And if you call the function with 10, 20, 30 as a parameter, it will give the output 60. Then arrow function with default parameters. Arrow functions support default parameters, which allows predefined values if no argument is passed, which makes the JavaScript function definition more flexible and concise. For example, here we have defined function constant sum equal to x, y, z, and we have assigned 30 to z. And if we print x, y, z and we call the function sum 10, 20, it will give the output 10 plus 20 plus 30, since we have provided 30 as a default value for z. And if we call the function sum with 10, 20, 40, it will give the output 10 plus 20 plus 40. Since we have passed the value for z, it will assign new value to z and it will print it.